of town gathered at Paschal High School under the leadership of Ed Sampson. The delegates were busy rounding up and solidifying votes for their candidates. Sampson said the convention was split about evenly among four factions: McGovern, Wallace, Humphrey, and the uncommitted delegates. Earlier, Hubert Humphrey had asked Tarrant County delegates supporting him to attend their conventions uncommitted. Therefore, one might be able to assume that by adding the large percentage of the uncommitted delegates to the Humphrey vote, that the former vice president would hold a slight advantage with the South Side Convention. The North Side Convention was held by Earl Armstrong, permanent convention chairman. The Wallace supporter, Armstrong, drew strength from both sides to gain the chair. The 10th Senatorial District is believed to be ready to go to the state convention, with most of the delegates split between Wallace and McGovern, with Wallace showing about 40% of the delegates committed to him. As in Dallas County, the Republicans appear to back Nixon all the way. Bob Shouse for Channel 8 News on the Move in Tarrant County.
4, but we actually had 4.5.
Where's that precinct? Where's the chairman of that delegation, 102? Huh? Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I move that this poll be continued with only the chairman of the various delegations coming up to the microphone. This is creating chaos. They can be polled back in their delegation and challenged at the
We have one thing.
All right. You got 11 Wallace, 4 McGovern, 4 uncommitted. That's right. Okay. All right, thank you very much. 103. 8, you authorized 8.
It hadn't been made clear. We had 4.5 delegates for McGovern and 4.5 uncommitted. Are we going to get to keep these half delegates, or do we lose them?
Which precinct you in?
102, sir.
Well, what was the count in 102?
Pardon? We had 4.5 McGovern and 4.5 uncommitted. I believe our precinct chairman called it a
Poll is misrepresented. Thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
There was a world of difference between this morning's Republican district conventions and the Democratic district conventions, which started, some of them anyway, at 2 o'clock this afternoon. When Democratic officials said earlier this year that the Democratic primaries are where the action is, they may not have had district conventions in mind, but here's where it is today. But this morning, at places like the Republican 8th Senatorial District Convention at Lowe's Fieldhouse in far north Dallas, most of the convention was largely a matter of form. The usual convention business went through, resolutions commending President Nixon's handling of Vietnam, supporting GOP candidates, and so forth. Probably the resolution that got the most support from the delegates was one commending Vice President Spiro Agnew. But this afternoon, battle was joined in the Democratic Party. Most of the argument was predictably over which delegates would get whose vote and whether the delegation going to the state convention next month would be committed or uncommitted. At the 9th District meeting at North Mesquite High School, tension reportedly got to the point at one time where rumors of extra deputies being called out were floating around the school. Another slight problem occurred when none of the delegation certifications could be found. Here at the 23rd District Convention, meeting at Kimball High School, delegates weren't even sorted out until almost an hour after the official starting time. That a result, of course, of challenges and some contested delegations. Surprisingly, some George Wallace delegations showed more strength here in the 23rd than most observers had predicted. But as one Wallace man told me a few minutes ago, if I were an uncommitted, I'd hold out forever. He also predicted that the delegation to the state convention would end up being uncommitted, but that may not be for some time. At news time, the 23rd was still meeting at Kimball High School. Of course, today, district conventions were held in Tarrant County, too. With the Tarrant County story, here's Bob Shouse.
The two Tarrant County Democratic conventions met today to determine the county's Democratic position before going to San Antonio State Convention. Senatorial District 12, which includes most of the Southside Riverside High Auditorium, and apparently went in another political direction. The Wallace and McGovern factions seemingly joined forces for an early show of strength by